I remember when I was still in high school, I was 15 or 16, and I had private classes in English. This is how I learned English. And we were singing songs in English. And one of the songs, I still remember some of them. And one of the songs was a British song. And the last verse was, it was about some money, that a person gets some money and he's sending some money, he's using it, and then he sends something to his wife, etc. And the last verse was when he ran out of money, he said, "I've got nothing, jolly, jolly nothing. I've got nothing, the last for my life. Nothing to spend and nothing to lend and nothing
to send home to my wife.
Yeah.
No, yes, have I to grieve me. No pretty little girls to the sea." It's a sailor song.
Yeah. We're kind of digital sailors now. Maybe I told already in some sessions, one of my favorite websites, I mean, from time to time, occasionally, maybe once in 2 years, I decide to check how things are going in that website, and there is still nothing. So the name of this website is, the address is, I think, nothing.net or nothing.org. I don't remember exactly, but it is nothing. Nothing.something. Yeah. And they promise nothing. And they say, not only we promise, but we deliver what we promise. Yeah. So, and they explain that, well, they do nothing, please expect nothing from us and you will get nothing from us. So we fully meet your expectations. Yeah. It's really funny. And then, but they have some merch. And besides nothing, they deliver something, and usually they propose two options. You can buy a T-shirt, white T-shirt, on which with the white color it's written nothing, it's printed nothing, or black one, you know, black T-shirt with black nothing. So you have two options.
Sounds very political, Igor.
Okay, so now we are continuing with our rich menu of nothing, nothingness, naughtiness, absence, non-existence. Yeah, all possible enjoyments for us. But we start with something which is basically nothing as well. So we start with Guru Yoga. And but first we sit well. Yeah, you know, like school children, we sit well. We sit comfortable. I think part of the problem with school children is that nobody was teaching us to sit comfortably. Yeah. In general, we had a very bad education. I don't know, maybe I'll start with a joke, no? What would you prefer, Guru Yoga first or bad joke, bad Russian joke first? Yeah, I clearly see the preferences, clearly. So, we have a big series of jokes about one Russian military whose name was Lieutenant Rzhevsky. It's complicated to pronounce for non-Russian people, Rzhevsky. Yeah, but, well, you don't have to, I do the job. So he was the lieutenant, he was a hussar, and this is like elite units of Russian army in the 19th century, those who were defeating Napoleon, basically. And he was one of them, sorry French, Uh, well, that's, that's the history. But otherwise you wouldn't have bistro, no? Because this is a Russian thing. So, and this guy was very famous for his character, you know, even stronger than mine, probably. And very direct and straightforward. So, but he was still an aristocratic with some decent pedigree, etc., because it was like elite forces of the Russian army in the times of Russian Empire. And he was being invited to some balls and all gatherings of aristocrats, etc. Even though people were a bit cautious to invite him. So there was still a big ball party in governor's house, some Russian prince, and there were many guests, but there was also the son, a teenager, like 12-year-old or 13-year-old teenager son of the host, and he was really nasty, really nasty. He did not behave, he did not follow any orders, did not follow any requests, and he was interfering in every single talk and really behaved very badly, the son of a governor, of a prince, young prince. And nobody could really handle him. And then this Lieutenant Drzevsky, he saw the kid and then he asked him, come here, I'll tell you something. And they moved to another room for like 2-3 minutes. And then the lieutenant came out of the room, but the boy disappeared and never appeared till the end of the ball party. And everyone was absolutely happy. And when guests were about to leave, the hostess, the host wife, the princess, she asked the lieutenant, oh, well, lieutenant, we heard of many of your different kinds of talents, but we never heard that you had such a pedagogical talent. What did you do with my son that he's behaving so nicely this evening? I said, oh, well, madam, nothing really special. I just showed him how to masturbate. So you see, this is the kind of education we were missing. They didn't really teach us how to masturbate and how to sit comfortably. So now I am doing my best to refill this gap in our education, at least in the part of sitting comfortably. So I guess the other thing you already learned. So you see, Andrew, in Dejamling, we were missing this joke, no? So now you had time to sit comfortably. Maybe you also had time for something else. And now we are ready to do Guru Yoga. And you remember the very important thing in Guru Yoga, when we have white R, we are not looking at this white R in a tigle. We are ourselves this white R and tigle. This is our presence. This is how we are present. This is not what is present in us. It is how we are present here. Yeah. This is the point, because it represents our primordial state. It's not a label, primordial state, you know, like the label exit, but you cannot exit through the label exit, through this, plate exit, yeah? It's not like this. This is not this kind of symbol. But this is our existence manifesting as a white R in a 5-colored sphere, yeah? This is our existence. This is not something we are looking at. This is something we are looking from. Yeah? This is not something we are aware of. This is something we are aware from. Yeah? So we are aware from this white R and Tigla. Okay. And of course, we feel the vibration. We feel it because it's connected to our body. Our body is the base. So it's connected to our body, and we feel it basically in all our body. Of course, the strongest vibration we feel here, the strongest sensation we feel here, but it's reaching every single cell of our bodies. This vibration is reaching because our bodies are 80% water or beer. I don't know. Water is basically expired beer. Yeah. So now you know the origin of water. Oh, better expired vodka. You know, on vodka they make a label, expiry date. Yeah. So after it's expired, even infants, even toddlers can drink it. Yeah, because it's expired. No. Okay. So why we do Guru Yoga? And the reason we apply the method of Guru Yoga is to reconnect with the knowledge that we've received. And this is not something which is happening somewhere there, you know? So we believe, okay, we said, we imagine something, maybe we relaxed a little bit, and then something is happening. We are not really sure if it's happening or not, but we believe it's happening. It's not really like this. It means that if you really apply the method of Guru Yoga, then we are in this famous Rigpa, instant presence. Otherwise, why would we do Guru Yoga? Sometimes we can hear that, like being in instant presence is something like almost an impossible task, only for enlightened beings. But this is not correct. That's why Chogyal Namkha Norbu was transmitting that, and we were supposed to understand it, to get it, to really discover. And when we do Guru Yoga, means why we do Guru Yoga? Maybe we got distracted, which is normal, yeah? For example, we were sleeping and we got distracted. Not only distracted in general way, but mainly distracted from this primordial state, yeah? From being in our primordial state, being in instant presence, in recognition of this primordial state. Yeah. So we are, as Dzogchen practitioners, supposed to be in that, not to believe somewhere in future we are going to be there. No, not really. Yeah, sometimes you can say that you're communicating with some even old practitioners. I had this experience, and then you say, okay, then I remain in state of contemplation, and then people say, what are you talking about? What kind of fucking contemplation can you abide in? And for me, it's really strange. Really, for me, it's really strange, because Rinpoche was always telling us, you relax in contemplation. It means we were supposed to relax in contemplation. It means we were supposed to know what's that. And then it's very strange that people who've been following Rinpoche for decades, and they still don't believe that others can be in contemplation. You know, maybe they do believe that about themselves, but they don't believe it about others. Yeah, this is not something like miraculous. This is something that it's supposed to be our main practice. Of course, we can get distracted, and that's the reason why we don't manifest some different kinds of qualities and realizations, etc. Yeah, because we are distracted. And when we are distracted, we are manifesting ordinary mind, ordinary personality, ordinary being, etc. That's very normal. So that's why we are applying Guru Yoga, and Guru Yoga means that we are in the state of contemplation. We are in the state of Samantabhadra. There should be no difference. There is no difference between ourselves and Samantabhadra. And Samantabhadra is our real state. It's not some fictitious character somewhere out there. A kind of a character from some special ancient Tibetan animated movies. Hello, I am Samantabhadra. I'm going to tell you something. No. Our state. This is the point why we apply the method of Guru Yoga. Anything can be really Guru Yoga. Should be connected with transmission, and also the methods that we are applying, they should be connected with the transmission. But what does this mean? It is connected with transmission. It means the context. Because many of the methods that we are applying in the Dzogchen community, you can find it elsewhere. You can find them elsewhere. For example, like if we check different kinds of semzins, and you say, oh, these semzins are very, very secret. And we believe, if you don't know anything else, then we believe that nobody knows these semzins. And say, hush, don't tell them anyone, etc., etc. But then if you read those semzins, then you discover, if you really have a little bit broader view, then you discover that you can find the same kind of instructions. You can find them elsewhere. You can find some of those instructions you can find in Vajrayana teachings, or you can find in Sutra teachings. Oh, there are things that you can find even in non-Buddhist teachings. Yeah, like something related to impermanence, etc. There is a something with impermanence, but impermanence, this is number one we study in Buddhism. This is number one when we are talking about Hinayana Buddhism. I'm not saying Theravada, I'm saying Hinayana, which is politically incorrect, but is correct. Yeah. Non-politically. Yeah. In real sense, it is correct. So in Hinayana, this is the very first thing that we learn, impermanence. We discover impermanence, how things are impermanent. There are different kinds of impermanence aspects, and one aspect that we understand how fleeting everything is. That everything is disappearing moment after moment. Yeah? Everything is changing all the time. And we have a kind of insight into that, into this constant change. Yeah? Instead of seeing things stable as we see them. And we have a Samson like this, and how can we say that it is secret? The Samson itself is secret. But what is secret about that? The secret is how it is connected with transmission, because in Hinayana, it is not connected with the transmission. It's an exercise. Yeah, it's an insight, and we receive some kind of result. Yeah, we receive some kind of an experience. We receive some kind of wisdom through applying this method of impermanence in the context of Hinayana or in the context of Mahayana, etc. So this is how it's there. Yeah. But it doesn't bring us to recognize our real nature. It doesn't bring us to the recognition of what we call bodhicitta, or the primordial state. My mom removed my glass, so I have to drink from the bottle. She's trying to put things in order on my desk, my working desk. She doesn't like what she sees, and I have a perfect order because I know where everything is. I just stretch my hand and I pick the right sheet of paper or the book or whatever I need. But of course, if you look from outside, it looks like a total mess. Yeah. But there is a logical order, because things, you know, how you use it, you put them. And then you know where everything is. Yeah. But it does not look organized. It's a flow. So, well, okay, that's our circumstances. Instead of a glass, I'm using a bottle. Maybe it doesn't look so aesthetic, like transparent. This crystal glass looks so nicely. Crystal bottle. So the context is the transmission. And the transmission means that we communicate with the teacher, or the teacher is communicating to us. And as the result of this communication, we discover this famous instant bloody presence. Yeah? We discover it. It means that transmission worked. There was the transmission. Now, it's in us already if you discover it. But if you didn't discover, then what? I don't know. I don't know. For me, it's not enough to be present physically at some retreat when the teacher is giving the transmission to then claim, I have received the transmission, without any understanding. Not being very much different from a dog or cat or cockroach or little baby who can be also present at the retreat. Yeah. So the transmission means that we understand, we get this wisdom. we discover. This is the context. And then when we discover, you discover one, you discover all. This is what Chogyal Namkha Norbu been always constantly saying. You discover one, you discover all. Because instant presence is always discovered through some kind of experience. And the experience in Tibetan language we call nyam. This is an experience. Sometimes nyam is something like special experience, but experience is an experience. You can have an experience of pain or experience of pleasure. This is already nyam. This is an experience. So when the teacher is giving the transmission, the teacher is using some kind of deep experience. And why is it important? Because at least when we have a strong experience, we are not so much distracted with our dualistic mind. Our attention is not running here and there. It's not wandering around. Yeah? We are present in a general sense of the word, like ordinary presence. So our mind is not jumping as a wild monkey. In real sense, even it's jumping like a wild monkey, it's not a problem if you recognize that, but we don't recognize that. So we have an experience, can be experience of calm state, can be an experience of movement, can be experience related to emptiness, to clarity, to some kind of sensation, not only pleasant sensation, but can also be unpleasant sensation as well. But usually this is a kind of an experience. And through this experience, we discover the real nature of this experience. But this experience, this real nature, it doesn't mean that we can only experience real nature through this experience. There can be many experiences. The real nature is the same for all experiences. Just in the context of our communication with the teacher, then one certain experience can be more suitable, can work better for us in the context. That's why teacher can use different ways of introducing the primordial state, is using direct introduction, symbolic introduction, and oral introduction. Can be different ways. But there is always some kind of experience related to that. But when we recognize this instant presence through this experience, then any experience will do. Any experience will do. What's usually important? Important is that we are not distracted. We are not too much conditioned by our dualistic mind. Then any kind of experience can do. And then samsans, these are different kinds of experience, these samsans that we have. And then any kind of Hinayana practice, Mahayana practice, Vajrayana practice can be a samsan. Then it becomes connected, when we connect it with transmission, so we are not applying this method in the context of Sutra teaching. And context does not mean that we go to the temple and we apply and this becomes a Sutra teaching. No, it's our internal context. This is the context of our practice. We have a context of having received the transmission, of having discovered the primordial state. This is our context. But the other side of our context is that we are distracted. So that's not a problem. We apply some method, a kind of exercise from Sutra, from Tantra, from anything non-Buddhist, whatever, that helps us not to be distracted anymore. And then we discover the same thing. This means that the method is connected to the transmission. Otherwise, if you do it just the way in the context of Sutra, thinking, which is the context of Sutra. We think, we apply this exercise, we get to some next level of understanding, and this is another step on a long journey. This is the context of Sutra. Then it is just that, another step on a big, long path. But if we apply this method in the context of Dzogchen teaching, in the context of having received the transmission, it means that we already have discovered this famous instant presence. And we apply in this context, then it becomes a Dzogchen method. So it doesn't really matter if you tell this method for somebody or not. It's not so secret. There is nothing secret in observing impermanence. Absolutely nothing secret. Yeah. So for example, you take a Semzin of impermanence in the book of Semzins written by Lon Chenpa, or you take explanation of impermanence written in some Hinayana book. Impermanence is impermanence. There is nothing secret about that. What is secret is how it is connected to the transmission. But it's secret not in a way that you are not allowed to tell it. If you try to tell it, you can't. That's impossible to tell the nature of this secret. Yeah. Why is it secret? Because it cannot really be an object of our dualistic minds. That's why it is secret. That's why it is hidden. Hidden from whom? It's hidden from our dualistic minds that are judging and thinking and creating mental models and analyzing. And this knowledge is escaping, yeah? Cannot be expressed, but doesn't mean that cannot be understood. That doesn't mean it cannot be discovered. It can be discovered. And for this reason, we have a transmission that goes beyond words and explanations, even though we can use words and explanations. There is no problem with using them. But this is the meaning of secrecy. Even you try to explain, you can't. Yeah. This is what Rinpoche was always saying, that you cannot explain the primordial state, but even though you cannot explain the primordial state, there is a way to make understand. Do you remember how often Rinpoche was saying these words? Yeah. You cannot explain, but there is a way to make understand. Yeah. This is the nature of this great secret. This secrecy. And then the problem with some methods is that if you're explaining some methods, not in the context of the transmission, it still has imprint on the mind of this person. Still has an imprint. And this imprint is conditioning. And it becomes an obstacle when a person really meets the transmission. Then this person feels, oh, I already know this. For example, there is an exercise of searching for mind. Yeah, different variations of this exercise, and we are going to do some of them. But we are searching for mind. And then the person, for example, someone told him, or he read a book, he knows that, oh, you cannot find mind. Then the teacher is saying, you search for mind, but this person already knows you cannot find mind. So the way this person is going to apply this method is very different from the way a fresh person would apply it, not knowing that you cannot find mind. No? You have mind, and somebody tells me, okay, where your mind is. And then if you're fresh, you are stunned. You get in a state of hedava, like a shock, immediately. But if you have already an idea, the mind cannot be found, then you think, oh, okay, he's telling me to search for mind, but I know the mind cannot be found. Say, oh, okay, I cannot find my mind. So nothing, doesn't work. That's the problem. That's the problem. When people read books without having received the transmission, or somebody is explaining these methods outside of the context of having received the transmission. Yeah, this is the problem, because this creates an obstacle. It doesn't mean that this obstacle cannot be overcome. It can be overcome because there are many different methods. There is not only one single method of transmitting. There can be also other methods, but this method is dead for this person. As long as this person has memory, maybe when he meets Mr. Alzheimer, then it will work for again. Yeah, that's okay. Why not? You don't really need memory so much to rely on memory to practice Dzogchen. You more rely on skill of being present, which is connected to memory, but is not identical with the memory based on information, etc., etc. So this is the context. And then we take a method and we connect it with the transmission, and then it becomes a method of us to reconnect with this knowledge. So we can use methods from Hinayana. There is no problem. Like, for example, we have this samzin of gradual emptiness. Yeah, what does it mean, this samzin of gradual emptiness? We analyze our condition. We analyze, okay, what is me? What do I call me, myself? Is that the body? Is that my mind? My sensations? Imagine, okay, I have body and mind, yeah? Am I my body or am I my mind? We just analyze. And if it is my body, if it's like a head or something else. And we discover that there are so many elements of us that we consider me or mine. And we analyze, okay, can I be me still without this element? Okay, for example, I have an element of vision, yeah, in my condition. And for me, vision is very important for us, right? Being able to see, yeah. Having visual consciousness, having our visual organs, eyes intact, being able to see shapes and colors. Yeah, look, how many of us wear eyeglasses? Why? Because we correct our vision. Yeah? We improve, we need our vision. Yeah? So vision is a very important part of us, right? But if we lose our vision, then what we discover, is it no longer me or not? Is it still me or not? We discover, oh, okay, this is still me. So I am not my vision. And it's the same with the sense of hearing, taste, smelling, etc. You know, nowadays, there is a fashion of people that are losing their smelling capacity. Yeah, it's very popular nowadays. Particularly in Europe, it's very popular, like in Italy, yeah, in France. So, but even a person lost a sense of smelling, yeah. still the same person, no? So also like different parts of our body. If you lose some part of our body, even something which is very important for us, maybe we are still the same. And what we call us, we discover that maybe it's our history and our memory and our sensations and our desires. This is all me. But then if there is something concrete there, and we observe, and then we discover that we cannot find something concrete. We just, whatever we find are just different kinds of phenomena. Like, for example, the same thing, like we are looking for a forest and we discover, we know a forest. Oh, there is a forest. Like Bois de Boulogne, yeah, in Paris. Yeah, and you look at the map, it's written, okay, this is Bois de Boulogne. This forest, or this, what was that? Sherwood, yeah, Sherwood Forest, where this Robin Hood was, yeah. We can look at the map and we discover that forest. But if we come there, do we find forest? What do we find? We find trees. Yeah? We find trees growing here and there. And then when we are looking from the distance, we see it as a forest, but inside we see trees. We don't see forest. In Russian, we have an expression that cannot see a forest behind the trees. I don't know if there is this expression in English, and usually it means like being nearsighted, not seeing the big picture. Yeah. But in real sense, we just see trees. We see trees, and forest is something which is a creation of our minds. Yeah? It's just a label, this bunch of trees here and there, we call forest. And for forest, it's still okay, but then we apply the same kind of analysis to ourselves. And then we discover, but I'm like that forest. I have hands and legs and head and tail and other parts, but I don't find anything else. It's just a labeling of all these things that, like for example, I'm saying something now, yeah? That's a kind of activity. And then I'm moving with my hands and I'm scratching my nose. And maybe you don't see it, but maybe I'm scratching my ass as well. Yeah, these are different actions that I can perform. And I have some sensations. This is what I find. I experience light, I hear the sound. These are all sensations, and this is what I find. And my mind unites all of that into a single picture, which is called me. Because I'm talking, you listen to me. Yeah. I'm moving, so you're looking at me. Yeah. I feel, but this me, this myself, is a production, the same kind of production of my mental activity as an idea of a forest, based on an idea of a tree. If you try to see the tree, then you also discover just different parts of the tree. But for us, it is a simple way to deal with reality. Because to deal with reality, we need something concrete. We need to remember something. We need to make marks and to continue some kind of knowledge, because we learn something, then we need to shape this knowledge into some form, and we need this kind of abstract thinking to maintain, to preserve this memory for future. for not going through the same experience twice, for learning on our mistakes, for example. So it's a mechanism that helps us to survive in this world. But if we are trying to liberate from this world, this is something that creates an obstacle, this mechanism. Doesn't mean we need to ruin that, we need to break it, but we go beyond this mechanism of abstract thinking. It's great. Abstract thinking is something that made us human, made us really different from animals. The very fact that we are communicating now is due to abstract thinking. Without abstract thinking, no computers would be possible. No Zoom would be ever possible. We would be still living on trees or in caves without abstract thinking. So it's great, but if you are trying to become free from this world, this mechanism of making this world better, this mechanism of this tool for surviving in this world can become an obstacle. We still need to survive in this world, at least for some time. But for liberating, it becomes an obstacle. So we should go beyond that. We should go beyond this principle of abstract thinking and discover this is just labeling. Because it's much easier to operate, to compute the reality, to predict the reality, when we pack the reality into few small things. Me and others already. Then already we know how to act. We know we have rules. We have procedures, we have habits that help us to survive. To survive, yes. To liberate, no. So we apply this analysis and then we can have an experience, the experience that we do not exist. That's a very nice experience that we do not exist. We expect something to exist, but it's not there. And then we discover some kind of emptiness. But this is not an intellectual emptiness. Like, for example, we are analyzing the forest and then we feel, oh, okay, it's just a bunch of trees and nothing special. No, there is no insight in that. Inside, there is this wow feeling. Because insight is something that happens in all our existence, not just in our intellect. We feel something because when we are talking about this emptiness, this Sutra emptiness, this is basically Sutra emptiness. Madhyamaka emptiness, one of a kind. Emptiness of our existence, that our existence is just something imputed, labeled, on the base of a bunch of different kinds of phenomena, different kinds of sensations, different kinds of data which are coming to us through our six senses. Then we grab this data and we make it me, or a tree, or something else. Yeah. Because, there is this ancient joke about a person that was making a bet with a king, and he put his own head on the stake. He said that if I don't do this, you take my head. And what is the way to take off somebody's head is to decapitate, yeah? Decapitate. So there was this great achievement of great French Revolution, guillotine, yeah? To decapitate people in a very nice, sophisticated way, very professional, yeah? So you cut, it's like a factory, like they do with chicken on chicken factories, yeah? But in like medieval Europe, they would take a big sword and there is executor, a big axe, and they just boom, boom, the head drops. Yeah, this is the way to take someone's head. All right, and then this king, he won the bet. Yeah, good. I'm going to take your head. So he is inviting his executioner. Now cut off the head of this guy, because his head now belongs to me. But this guy, yeah, just a second, yeah. I lost my head in this bet. This is true, I accept. But we had no agreement about my neck, so you cannot really touch my neck. And the king says, "Oh, yeah, really? I cannot touch his neck, so his head should stay where it is." Very stupid king. I would ask, okay, I don't need all of your head, just give me half. Yeah. So, but the point is, can you find a border? This is head, yeah? We know this is head. Who's there? Who's there? Nobody home. Okay. This is the head and this is the neck, right? But can we find a precise border between a head and the neck? There can be many discussions, you know, like scholars, scientists, they have a discussion. So we have a mountain, yeah? We have a mountain. But how do we discover which is the end of a mountain and now the valley begins? How do we measure? How do we discuss? Which is the border? Because we need to measure the height of this mountain, but from which point we are measuring? And there is a discussion, and there can be different opinions because there is nothing concrete, because the mountain is a mountain and the valley is a valley. But when we are trying to find the border really where the valley stops and the mountain begins, there is nothing like that. There is nothing concrete, yeah? Because it's our mind makes mountain to be mountain. It's our mind that makes valley to be valley. Yeah? It's arbitrary, but we are not aware of it very much. And our existence is like this. Where do I end and you begin? Where is the end of me? Where is the border of me? Can I find the border of me? Well, from the first sight, yes, I can easily find. But then if I'm trying to look at this border, I don't find anything concrete. I don't find any border. Yeah? For example, this water that I'm drinking, is it me or not? Can we define exact moment when this water becomes me? And then I will go to the toilet and I will release some liquid. What is the exact moment when this liquid is no longer me? When I'm cutting my nails, or hair, which is the moment these nails or hair are no longer me, no longer my body? You see, when we try to analyze like this, then our mind gets stumbled at some point, because everything looks so clear and evident. And now we discover it's not at all that clear and evident, and our mind stumbles, and we discover some experience of emptiness. And this experience is something sensible. It's not just intellectual understanding. Yeah. There is something happening and we feel it, this experience. We feel it. And for example, in Sutra teachings, it's explained that when we recognize emptiness and different kinds of emptiness, then we might have a feeling that all hair over our body stands, you know, like when we have strong fear, for example, when we are terrified. You remember this teaching on 6 parameters, and there is a parameter of patience. And then parameter of patience, the top level of parameter of patience is the patience when we confront the deep truths. Why do we need patience? Huh? This is the truth. We've been searching for truth for all our lives, you know? This is a kind of a dominant of our culture. What is truth? Pontius, the pilot, you know? Pontius, the pilot, he was flying on a plane. That's why he was the pilot, yeah? So Pontius, this is a joke, you know. A kid was asked to make a picture of a flight to Egypt when Jesus with Mary, they fled to Egypt and escaped to Egypt. And so the kid made a painting, a woman with a baby in an airplane, and with somebody is driving an airplane. And asking, what is this? But this is a flight to Egypt. But who is this? Ah, this is Pontius, the pilot. Yeah. So Pontius, the pilot. He was asking the question, what is truth? Yeah, and what is truth? Is that unchanging law? We both have truth. Is mine the same as yours? Yeah. Well, some of us learned Bible through Jesus Christ Superstar, right? So, but in any case, this is a very important question in our culture. What is the truth? And we are searching for this truth. And then we confront, we meet the truth, we confront this truth, and then we can't stand it. Yeah? We reject the truth. Yeah? We reject the truth. And why? Because it's terrifying. Because our mind stumbles, it doesn't feel any more kind of support, doesn't feel stable, it's losing support. It's like losing balance, like falling into an abyss, into like into a precipice. So this is what we experience when we discover emptiness, when we have this glimpse into emptiness, when we have an insight into emptiness. Yeah, something we should experience. It is concrete. It's not purely intellectual. It's more than that. Intellectually, it's very simple. It's very simple, but it doesn't change anything in our lives. It does not become a life-changing experience. Yeah. You know, a fear, when you are afraid, it can change your life, right? I'm sure. Did you have an experience of fear that changed your life? Yeah. I had once, for example, I can tell you, and also it's a good story about how our mind works. In a place where I lived, and this is like, well, now it is the Ukraine, but before it was just the southern Russia, yeah, before 1991, and Soviet Union. It was Soviet Union, and this was a kind of area where Slavic population was meeting with the Turkish population, with Turk people. And there was always a fight. This was an area of a constant fight between Slavic tribes and Turkish tribes for centuries. Yeah, and you know, when I was a kid, I didn't know why, but people were saying, Babai will come and take you. Yeah. So there was this terrible figure of Babai. But what is Babai? You know, it's like Sai Baba is the same. It's a Turkish word for old man or grandfather. This means Baba or Babai, yeah, in Turkish languages. In Turkish language, in Uzbek language, in Kazakh language, in many other languages, it's just old person. But for people, for Slavic people who lived in that area, that was an enemy. Yeah, that was an enemy. It was because there would be an invasion, a raid, and they would take children and bring them to Istanbul, to the slave market. Yeah. You know, now there is a big deal talking about slavery that ended 150 years before in America, and everyone is so excited about this story. But like from the area where I was born, many people were taken to slavery to Turkey, yeah, to Istanbul. For centuries it was like that. So then Babai would come and pick a child and bring him to Istanbul slave market. Yeah. So this is our history. Not just in America there was slavery. Everywhere there was slavery. Literally everywhere in the world. Regardless of color. Yeah, any color will do. Any color is good for slavery. Yeah, any color. So, and still even though it was long over, like since 200 years, when Turks were defeated by Russians, there was no longer this situation. But in this culture, in popular culture, still there was a figure of Babai who would come and take the child and take it away, take the child away. And of course I didn't know, I was like 5 years old. I didn't have any idea how Babai would look like, but it was always with this intonation, Babai will come and take you. So of course you feel terrified, you're a kid, no? And you don't know how Babai looks like. And then I would go out to the street to play. And even I was 5, it was no problem to go outside by myself, you know? It was our situation. Our life was quite safe. Yeah, yeah. We would go outside and nobody cared. And saying like, till 12 years, children should not be left unattended. That would be ridiculous, absolutely. So we were 5, and we were running in the streets by ourselves. Yeah. When I was 7, I could go to another side of big city to just go to a movie. Yeah, there was no problem with that. So I was about 5 years old, and then I saw Babai. I went out of the section of my building, and then I saw Babai. I don't know how my mind made it, but it was just something that I could never see and that looked terrifying. And I immediately understood, this is Babai. Nobody told me. But I just ran. I ran into elevator. I was 5 years old. I was going in elevator by myself. Nobody cared. So okay, no, nobody would take me from my parents for that. No. So I came back home and said, Mama, I cannot go outside. There is Babai there. So that was a kind of life-changing experience because that was really scary. I was fucking scared. Yeah. And you know what, you probably want to know what I saw. It was a teenager from the same building where I lived, in the next adjacent section he lived, a teenager, Bronstein, and he was wearing a gas mask. I was frightened because it was scary, you know. And you see how mind is working, yeah. And this is a life-changing experience. And then for some time I was afraid when I saw people in gas masks. I was afraid. not that much anymore. And then, of course, I got used to that. But this is something strong. And emptiness is much more scary than this bye-bye, really. Emptiness is much more scary because emptiness is indefinite. Yeah? You know, did you see this movie of like Aliens, for example, or like a Predator, some horror movies? So when it is still horrible, when you don't know what's happening, you know, something is just grabbing a person, tears apart into parts, and you don't know what's that, and you're terrified. But when they show this, this teeth and everything, then it becomes funny, no? Because now it is something concrete. You know how to deal with that. It's no longer emptiness. It's no longer uncertainty. Yeah. So this is how our mind works. Yeah. And emptiness is a kind of alien that hasn't shown up yet. Yeah. It's a kind of alien. It's uncertainty. So this is the experience, and maybe we don't have that scary experience very much, but still we have something. Okay. Now, from fairy tales, we proceed to real thing. Yeah. Oh, like real stuff for real men. Yeah. Old school. Real emptiness. So we try to apply this method. And the point is that we are not just analyzing that much. What we glimpse into our existence, and we discover that there are just parts that we label as ourselves. And in this way, we discover that there is nothing else existing that we could label ourselves other than these parts, just a bunch of parts, and that our mind creates ourselves the same way it creates forest on the base of trees. Yeah. We had the glimpse and we feel something. And when we feel something, we remain there in this feeling of uncertainty and emptiness and being stumbled. Yeah. And this is the insight into emptiness. And then it is connected with the transmission because we've received the transmission. Even somebody did not receive, okay, at least you can enjoy emptiness. Yeah. So let's try. You don't need a special position to do this. Just be comfortable. No. So we discover we have some shape and we have some sensations and we have different kinds of judgments. We have different kinds of impulses to do this or that. We have different kinds of consciousness, like sensory consciousness, mental consciousness. This is what we find. But is there me? Okay, so maybe somebody wants to share your experience. If you had some glimpse into this emptiness, some insight, and you felt maybe even a little bit of unease, some feeling that you don't really like about that you really need to be patient with and to endure. Some kind of knowledge that you don't want to accept. Because this is a good sign. You don't want to accept what you discover. That's a very good sign. I remember one of my friends, it was many years ago, in late 90s. And of course, we were young and we were interested in emptiness, but of course, we were also interested in girls. We still are. And my friend, he was explaining emptiness to some girl, and he was explaining to her, but nothing exists, nothing. This, oh no, this does not exist. This, no, this does not exist. And she said, but what about love? Oh, love does not exist. And the girl burst into tears. She was crying, you know. She was really a young girl, like 23 or 25 years old. And she was crying because he said, and probably she believed him that love did not exist. So she didn't want to accept it. Yeah? So we don't really need to become like too emotional about this, but there should be some feeling which is not very pleasant. Okay. Anyone? Anybody wants to share your broken heart history? You broke my heart. I will break your bones. So, anybody? Somebody do? Nobody. Okay, Joanna. Yeah.
I was just thinking, as I get older, I feel more sort of, discomfort there, an ache here and there. So that's really my experience. And I'm saying, okay, well, I was just saying, I'm not that, but I'm the thing experiencing that. And then trying to go back a step further, saying, okay, where's that? Where's that experience of?
Yeah, that's a different thing. It's still kind of emptiness, yes, but it's a bit different. But just saying, just from applying this kind of analysis, and then we discover you can look at yourself, yeah. Look at your hands, look at your legs, what you've experienced as yourself. Look, and these are hands, are just hands, no? Legs are just legs. And then maybe some thoughts pop up in your mind. These are just thoughts. Then you can see just experiences, different kinds of sensations, different kinds of phenomena popping up. How do we make you out of all these phenomena? Who are you going to protect there? Yeah, Maureen, please.
Hi, Igor. In that searching for something to find, the experience is that there's nothing there. There's nothing that says it's a me. But there seem to be two things happening. That there's a searching, and there's a knowing that searching is happening.
Yeah.
And it seems to be in an is it presence appearing as emptiness and as that is searching for something. Yeah. And it's very comforting, not frightening. It's almost as if there's a knowing of familiarity of what is discovered.
Yeah. It can also be amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not necessarily frightening.
No.
No, not necessarily. It can also be amazing. That you discover you don't exist. That's amazing. Because if you don't exist, you don't have to protect anything. Really, there is no me. There is nothing to protect. There is nothing to worry about. Thank you, Maureen. Yeah, it can also. Yeah, I see Dimitri. It can also be amazing. It can also be something in the context of Sutra, it's more like terrifying. But in the context of Dzogchen, it can be amazing. Yeah. It can be a moment of, when you say, emaho, and emaho is exactly emaho, amazing. Yeah, the same. Yeah, in Russian, we have a special word for that, but usually you don't use it in like public. Okay. Okay, Dimitri, please.
Yes, hello everyone. So, but I think I already got answer, but it was about love, about that example what you use with your friend. And so I think that, like, according with my experience, that answer of him, it was not really correct, that love doesn't exist. Because I think that love you can find by using that kind of exercises what we do.
Yeah, but this doesn't matter if my friend was right or wrong.
Yeah, exactly. But I understood already that, you know, before it seemed a bit that you used that example to explain that love doesn't exist, no? But after now you already told something. But
well, I use that example to explain how our mind can react when we discover that something important does not exist. So that girl started to cry. Yeah, oh, love does not exist. That was the point. But when we discover we don't exist, we react. It's reaction of all our existence. Not just intellectual, I don't exist. Okay. It's like people when they say, I'm not afraid of death. Why? Because when there is death, then there is no me anymore. Some people say, I'm not afraid of death. But when they really face dangerous circumstances, they start to feel nervous, no? But why are you nervous if there is no death? This is the difference between intellectual understanding and real understanding. Yeah. And when it's real, it's touching your guts. It's reaching your guts. Then it becomes like a serious understanding. Serious. You don't need to stay terrified, of course, but it's a kind of a sign. It's not fear in this case. Is not the essence, but is a sign, a possible sign. And another sign is, wow, it's amazing. And it's amazing, not in a way that people meet Dzogchen teaching and say, you're already enlightened. Wow, I'm already enlightened. Yeah. No, that's not that kind of wow. No.
may I ask one more question? If we touch that moment, what do you think about Socrates when he took this bowl with poison? Do you know that story of Platon?
Yes, but this is a story by Plato about Socrates, and that's a fiction story. No? We don't know what was really happening.
Story of Platon.
Yeah, of course, it's a Socrates of Plato. It's not the real one. No, it's a legend. So we don't really know. Yeah, I think that if Socrates could have a chance to read all those dialogues by Plato, say what? What did idiot to write about me. Because from other reports we know that Socrates was not of such a high opinion about Plato. From Laertius we know. So we don't know. Okay. Phil. Yeah, please turn on the sound.
So it's actually
Yeah.
It's interesting listening to you describing that fear, because not so much when I'm doing the practice now, but some time ago when I was doing it, I really did have that kind of idea, that real kind of shock feeling, like, oh, I've got to get back to myself, I've got to pinch myself to make sure I'm really, really real. And when I was trying to describe to fellow practitioners how I was feeling, it's very hard to describe. And I was thinking it's a little bit like when you go to the pool and you're just swimming along nicely, and then you look to the side of the pool and you realize you're in the 20-foot deep end, and then suddenly you panic.
Yeah.
Even though you're swimming on the top, your mind goes, oh, it's really deep here, I'm really scared. And so you try and scrabble back to the shallow end, but you're not doing anything different, you're just swimming along.
Yeah. The very precise experience of emptiness we discover when the reality does not meet our expectations.
Mm.
This is emptiness. This is a very precise emptiness. And I can give you a very precise example, and I'm sure that most of you had it. And for example, when you use public transportation and then you went into the shop and you want to buy something and you put your hand into your wallet or your purse to into your pocket or your purse to grab your wallet, and then you discover there is no wallet there. Yeah, or you left your car somewhere and you come back to a parking place and you discover that there is no car. Yeah.
Mm.
Or you come home and you discover that the lock is broken and your house was robbed. Yeah. This is exactly the feeling you have when the reality does not meet your expectations. Yeah. That's a perfect example of emptiness. Yeah. So when reality, because our expectations relate to our projections, this is our mind predicts how it should be. Our mind predicts it. You put your hand into your pocket and there is a wallet. And this is the expectation created by the mind. And then the reality does not meet this expectation and we have experience of emptiness. And in the same way, we expect ourselves to exist, don't we? We do quite much, yeah? Quite expect ourselves to exist. We are quite used to ourselves, no? Yeah. You know, like in this fairy tale, in this, not fairy, but tale, Winnie the Pooh. So this donkey, he was very attached to his tail, yeah, or its tail, yeah. So we are quite attached to ourselves, yeah. So we get used to live with ourselves. It's not always comfortable, but we are quite used to it. So then when we discover that there is no me, it's a shock. When we really discover, it's a shock because it does not meet our expectations. And then we discover emptiness. We have a feeling of emptiness. Yeah. And we can have it can express differently according to one's character. It can be a feeling of fear. It can also be a feeling of amazing or awe. this nice feeling, awe, A-W-E, yeah? Awesome, yeah? Can be different, but it is strong. This is a point where we go beyond our mind, our judgmental mind, which is judging and thinking. This is a point. It's a kind of, that's why it's called a gate of liberation or gate for liberation. One of you. This is a gate of liberation because this is how we can enter into liberation, go beyond our judgmental mind, which makes our life nicer in general. Sometimes worse, but in general, nicer, predictable, stable, comfortable, etc. But the other side of the coin is that this very mind is holding us inside virtual reality created by the mind itself. Yeah. And then everything meets our expectations, yeah, in certain way. It meets our expectations, and when the reality does not meet our expectations, that our mind stumbles, and then we can see the reality, no? And then we can become free from our mind, which is always judging and thinking. Okay. Shall we try once again? I'm not trying to hypnotize you saying, you don't exist, you don't exist, you, yeah, with two hands it works still better, yeah, you don't exist. Ooh. Yeah, there is a joke about auto training, you know, self-hypnosis. It's about a small, what do you call this animal? Oh shit, I forgot the name of this animal, but it has many, many needles. Yeah, not a porcupine, but small one. What, Francis, I cannot hear you.
Echidna.
Huh?
Hedgehog.
Hedgehog, yeah, hedgehog, right, hedgehog. Ежик in Russian, yeah. So the hedgehog is, he went to a course of auto training of self-hypnosis, and he has a problem. He has a problem of bad digestion, and he's self-hypnotizing himself, saying, I will not fart, I will not fart, I will not fart. It's not me, it's not me, it's not me. So sometimes we do our practice in this way. It's all empty. It's all empty. It's all empty. It's not me. It's not me. Okay.
Igor.
Yeah, so we are trying. Discover ourselves and to check behind all these phenomena that we consider ourselves. The shape, our shape, different kinds of reactions like grabbing pleasant and rejecting unpleasant, ignoring the neutral, different kinds of judgments, various impulses, and different types of consciousness or awareness. Is there really any real me besides all these phenomena? Beyond or behind all these phenomena? If you have some kind of feeling about this, just relax in that feeling. Just remain, not rejecting it and not being excited about it. Okay. So, anybody? Tom, you wanted to say something?
I was just saying, Igor. Yes, who's responding?
Ego.
Your body.
My ego.
Your attachment to who you are. And me, Tom, attached to name and form, Tom. So I was thinking about attachment and non-attachment. and how that relates to our being. That's all.
Yeah, but attachment is, in real sense, just our reaction. Attachment means that we are reacting, and when we confront something, we react. This is basically what attachment means. We react. Because when we confront something and we remain like not indifferent, but kind of dispassionate about this, even balanced, that means there is no attachment. There can be positive attachment, there can be negative attachment. So we reject or we grab something, we move. It makes us move. This is the fact that we call attachment. There is no such thing as attachment that we can really observe, oh, this is my attachment. This is logic. When we say attachment, this is logic. This is not a phenomena. This is something that we describe how we react on things that we confront, that we meet. Yeah. We meet something nice, oh, we want to see more of that. Yeah. We see something ugly, then oh, we turn back. Yeah. Or we want to close eyes or to turn off the TV. Yeah. No. You know, when okay, yeah.
Oh, so it would happen anyway. You know, we're going to live and die.
Yeah.
It will happen anyway if we're attached or if we're not attached.
Yes.
To, say, ice cream. I like ice cream. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but what does it mean you like ice cream? What does it mean?
I'm attached to the flavor.
Yeah, but what does it mean? You're attached to the flavor. How does it manifest? Okay, now, or like 5 minutes before, did you even think about ice cream?
If I attached to it, or even if I didn't attach to it, I would still taste the ice cream. But because I taste hazelnut and I like it, that becomes part of me, and I think I like hazelnut.
Yeah, I understand. But do you like it like 24/7?
No.
No. Okay. If you only eat hazelnut, how long will you? How soon will you start to hate it? If you eat hazelnut for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner, how soon will you start to hate it?
In 3 hours.
In 3 hours, yeah, pretty soon, no? So this is the point. Our attachment is not something real, no? This is just the way we react. And we react this way, and we react another way, and another time we react. And this is, we grasp all these cases of reaction to hazelnut, and we call this is my attachment. But in different conditions, we can puke when we are eating an ice cream. Yeah. So it means that when we are talking about attachment, the phenomena of attachment is just our reaction. And then we develop a general idea because we react the same way on the same things repeatedly. And we call it, oh, this is my attachment. But when I'm not even thinking of that, then I don't have any reaction. Where does this attachment abide when I'm not eating ice cream?
Space.
Yeah, nowhere. We cannot find it. It does not exist. Basically, it does not exist. It manifests only in the moment of a contact And then our memory grasps all these moments and says, oh, this is my attachment. And then it becomes a part of my identity. Then it becomes a part of my identity. And then sometimes you discover you no longer feel anything special about an ice cream. Does it really mean change for your identity? You see, in real sense, no, but we feel maybe it changes. Maybe ice cream is not something important. But then when we think about what we want to fuck, then it becomes something important. Then we can have different kinds of thoughts, and then somebody has always thoughts, has an idea, like for example, a man always has an idea that he likes women. Why? Because every time he sees an attractive woman, he reacts. Yeah. And then for some reason, at some thought, or maybe in a dream, he has a homosexual dream. And then it becomes a tragedy for this man's identity. Then he feels, oh, maybe in real sense, I like men, not women, no? And it becomes an internal conflict. But it was just a dream, no? It was just few moments of attachment, one by one, manifested that you are attached, you react on women, and then one time you react on men. It becomes a big conflict and tragedy for identity. But if you don't have an identity, you don't care. These are just reactions, you know? These are just reactions. And there can be different reasons why we react this way or another way. Yeah? But people make big buzz about identity. Yeah. So with ice cream, or with ice cream is okay, but for example, identity, I am like identity being related to some kind of brand, you know? This is what advertisers are trying to create. You know, like people are becoming walking stands, walking advertisement. They wear like Dolce Gabbana. Yeah, there is nothing particularly attractive in this logo, Dolce Gabbana, nothing really aesthetic, no? Nothing special, but people are very proud to wear Dolce Gabbana. And this is a part of their identity, yeah? Whether they are Dolce or Gabbana, I don't know, yeah. So, so you see, when these reactions are repetitious, they are happening over and over again, then we feel it becomes us. But then if you see just, this is a moment of attachment appearing, and then it was another moment, and then we see how our minds grasps all these moments, sticks them together, and then it becomes our identity, even though, you know, this phenomena manifests once in a few days. And the rest of our time, we don't even think about that, but it becomes a part of our identity. You see? This is how our mind is grasping conceptual characteristics. This is called conceptual characteristics, and this is how our minds are grasping onto them. Yeah? And then it becomes a defining characteristics. You know? What do we define? We define what is visible and what catches our attention. Of course, if you react on something, it catches our attention and we ignore something else. And then when we have 1% of something and 99% of anything else, then it's not anything else becoming the identifying characteristics, but this 1% is becoming identifying characteristic of some phenomena of ourselves. And then we discover emptiness, and then we discover emptiness is really 100%. And from time to time, different things manifest, like attachment to ice cream, to some specific people, or some sensations, etc. but they just occur from time to time. But our attention is grasped by these occurrences, and we feel this is the defining characteristics. Yeah? This is how our minds work and how we define things based on what grabbed our attention. Yeah? Now, for example, first time I was in Rome. I went to Italy many times, but well, a few times I went to Italy, but I didn't go through Rome. Maybe even I was in the airport, but I immediately would take a train to go to Merigar, to Tuscany. So I didn't really see Rome. And then one time, I think it was in 2005 or 2006, I don't remember exactly, I had few hours to be in Rome because I was going back from Merigar. I took a bus, early morning bus, and my flight was in the afternoon. So I thought, oh, I will have 6 hours in Rome. And Rome is, they say this, it is fantastic city, Rome. Of course, it's very famous, yeah. And I was preparing to enjoy my time in Rome. But in the bus, I was together with 5 or 6 Russian ladies, practitioners also from the Dzogchen community, who didn't speak any language. I mean, Russian, of course, they could speak, but it's not so much useful in Rome. You need Italian, or at least you need English, and I knew English and some Italian also. And they had to spend 4 hours in Rome. And they grabbed me and they didn't let me go. And they, please come with us because we cannot do anything without you. Please come with us. And I had to spend most of my time in Rome. I had to spend with them. And it was terrible because they were all crazy, you know. They were running here, running there. So mainly we were running around Tiburtina station. And some strange places, they would like to go here, would like to go there. And they were always restless. Absolutely. Always restless, nervous, agitated. And they didn't enjoy. And they were always demanding from me that I translate something and explain them and take them here, take them from one station to another station, from Tiburtina to some other station, I don't remember. And that was my stay in Rome. And you know what? I still had some time after that, and I almost missed my flight because I was already so much, too much, and I took a train going in another direction, not to Fiumicino. And fortunately, after 10 minutes, I realized something was going wrong. And I went out and I took a train and I went different direction. You know, that was my first impression about Rome. I hated it. I hated Rome. They said, did you go to Rome? Colosseum. Because we were at the Colosseum, but they were running here and there. And I couldn't really stay by myself. So, oh, terrible city, disgusting city. And but of course I could understand why it was happening. Yeah, why Rome was so disgusting. No. And then a few years later, maybe a couple of years later, I organized 2 days staying at Rome, and with a friend of mine, we went together to the retreat. And then we stayed at my friend's apartment and Cristiana's apartment in the center of Rome with a very nice host. And we enjoyed 2 days in Rome, and we were walking and really enjoyed Rome. Yeah. So it was a different context. So do I hate Rome or I love Rome? Yeah. Neither. There can be situations that I love Rome. I feel pleasure of being in Rome. And sometimes I feel a disgust. It depends on the context, yeah. So with every other, with any kind of city, it's like this, except for Paris. Paris, I always love. Because Paris, the nature of Paris, it's intrinsically good. Yeah. Okay, so Dimitri, please.
Yeah, thank you. I think that is about attachment is not so difficult to understand, that what we attach to, that is our pleasant feelings about them, not them by themselves. No? But then I have another question about practical, about if when we become attached to emptiness and to pleasant feelings, what it gives to us, then often I have kind of conflict with this world, you know. Then I have to do something with my mind, many things, for example, to study something and so on. And there is often that conflict, like a neuros, that, oh, again, all this crap is bothering me, you know. And what to do, how could you suggest during the this session, what to do with that?
Yeah, but it's not emptiness. It's can be some experience of calm state that we can develop attachment to, because there can be no attachment to emptiness, because emptiness is not really something that we confront. We can describe it, but it's not really like this, because emptiness, in real sense, emptiness can never be an object for our minds. It cannot be objectified. Whatever is objectified can become a cause for attachment or aversion, but not emptiness. We cannot enter into relationship with emptiness. We can enter into relationship with our experience, with our memories about that, and then develop attachment or aversion to that and manifest attachment, aversion. But real emptiness is not something we can get attached to. If you are getting attached to this emptiness, it's not the authentic emptiness we are talking about.
Yeah, what I mentioned, that is not I'm attached to emptiness, but when I do practice, I have some calm state. Yes, you're right, and that practice of emptiness is often brings it, and then the conflict is kind of neuros. You know, if maybe it's better to do some other practices to overcome that problem, or maybe something what is.
Do practices related to movement. You don't really need to do practices related to only calm state. Calm state develops attachment. This is true. This is well known, because it's pleasant. Yeah, it's pleasant. So you just discover, but who feels this pleasantness? You discover if this pleasant feeling is something concrete, it's really existent or not. Just use it an antidote. This is what Nagarjuna said, that this is emptiness of emptiness. If you get attached to emptiness, this is not good. Yeah. Because emptiness is just the way how we communicate about the nature of things. It is not something concrete. It is not a real thing. We can really observe emptiness. No, we cannot observe emptiness. Oh. Okay.
Thank you.
And then, okay, Phil.
Yeah, I've just been reflecting on Rinpoche's teachings on capacity and circumstance and how this relates to it, in that if your reaction to emptiness is, well, amazement or fear, but if it's fear, it's, in me, it's got to do with a sense of a loss of control. I'm no longer controlling stuff. And I was thinking, you know, when you are in the state of contemplation, then you are just, there's nothing else to do but work with capacity and circumstance. But at other times, Rinpoche's teachings and constant reminder to do that, I was thinking, is probably a preparation to being able to accept emptiness, you know, by perhaps thinking about working with capacity and circumstance, and sort of conditioning us to be more comfortable with loss of control, with just being present and aware. Yeah, anyway, that's all. Just wondering what you think about that.
Yeah, but in the context of Dzogchen, if you experience emptiness, then the question is, who is experiencing this emptiness? We are discovering the presence which is there, even though there is emptiness, means that we don't have an idea that who we are, like what kind of shape we have, what kind of inclinations we have, what kind of capacities we have. We have absolutely no narrative about ourselves and about other things as well, no ideas of subject and object. So it means emptiness, nothing concrete, nothing to grasp, but there is still presence that is aware of this emptiness. And this is what counts. Okay, so Rosella, you wanted to say something?
Yes. I am not very keen on this kind of exercise. So it's Sutra-like exercise, very mental. Maybe I am attached to previous experiences of insight. But I had this little insight that is true for me right now, that I experience as a little shock, as little everyday shocks, this emptiness-like feeling when I start realizing more and more in my everyday life that through relationships with others, they see me in different facets. I am not one, I do not exist. Even right before I started looking around me, and there are objects in this room that remind me of all relationships and the way I built up my image in relationship with others. And I am not that. I'm not that anymore. There are memories. I'm looking at an object and I know these people had an idea of me, and I have an idea of myself in relationship with what the memory that object evokes. But I'm none of those characters. And maybe because I'm getting older, I am, who is Rosella? I do not exist. And this is very scary.
Yeah.
This is, it brings tears into my eyes. And this has to do also with needs that were mine, strong needs to be loved, love. I still do want love. I know that, and I have to step back and remind myself that I live in a relative world where it's very, we need, yes, to predict the future and to have concepts. And I also need love. At least I need to, I think about yourself, you know, this is very direct. You are so mental and so apparently dissacrante. Do you understand this Italian word? Maybe someone can translate me. You laugh about it.
You can say cynical.
Cynical, yes. And yet you're a very loving person. You live with your mom and you take care of her, and I'm sure you love her. And yet you try to keep a distance. But this is you, and yet it's fluid. And this is my insight. I do not exist. I really ask myself, what is my identity? I know that I am made up of all the experiences I've had, and even the fact that I can speak English derives from the fact that I learned it through experiences, and it's good for me. I like it. Part of the pleasure of being here is being able to exchange it with so many different people from so many different countries and experience and backgrounds through a language that is not my language. This is part of my me, and yet what do you see, each of you? I do not exist. Who am I? This is my experience of emptiness. And it's hard to accept it.
Great. You see, this is a mental exercise But the point of this mental exercise is go beyond mental. Because when you feel, this is no longer mental, no longer. And when we feel this feeling of being scared, it's not scared, mental scare. It's a kind of a threat for our existence. We can feel it. And then when we say we want love, but what we really want, if you try to see what we really want, then
very, very true.
Yeah.
What is love?
Yeah, maybe we just need a hug from time to time.
Yeah.
You know, there is a very cynical joke about a man. They ask him, but you love sex so much, you are interested in sex, you're interested in women, but why don't you marry? And he said, well, I need a cup of milk once a week. Why do I need to buy a cow? Yeah, see, very cynical, yeah, but quite realistic. And they say, oh, we need love, we need love, we need love. But in real sense, sometimes we need like human warmth, yeah? Just maybe we can talk to some person who is paying attention to us, yeah? Who is giving his or her attention to us, and we can feel free, and we can feel confident, and we can feel secure, yeah, at this moment. Or maybe we just need this oxytocin, yeah, some release of hormones from time to time. But we don't need it 24 hours, yeah. We don't need it 24/7. Yeah, we need it from time to time, yes, to balance our condition. We need it, yeah. But we are projecting it into some kind of love that we are looking for. When we are really looking for moments of this kind of sensation, this kind of feeling, this is what we are looking for. Yeah? And we are projecting it to other people. Our own sensations we project on other people, and we start to demand our sensations from them. But that's impossible. No one can give this to us. These are our sensations, And if you're talking about love, then when we discover this emptiness, really, and we stop emotionally react on what we've discovered, and we just remain in that, then there is love automatically. We discover our innermost feeling of love, very deep, not dependent on what others do and how they relate to us. Yeah, because very big part of our dissatisfaction is unfulfilled expectations about others. We don't get from others what we expect. But we cannot get, because what we really expect is our own feelings. And then when we go to emptiness, we discover the base for all these feelings to manifest. And then we discover we can manifest love, we can manifest hate. But these are our feelings. This is not something external which is coming from other people. Yeah? And then when we have no grasping onto us, and when we recognize all our expectations that love, another level of love, manifests as our primordial quality, not as something that should be searched for, or we should be fighting for that, or build that, like building a relationship, etc. No. But discovering our true nature, and then in Vajrasattva, in the space of Vajrasattva, in this Tantra, it said that being love, it is not searching for love. Our primordial state, being love itself, doesn't need to search for any kind of love. Okay, Do you want to have a break? You don't have much time. Do you need a break? Oh, okay. Now, can you hear me now? Do you need a break? Yeah. Okay. So we have 8 minutes break. Just to piss.
Igor, can you just repeat that quote from Vajrasattva?
Ah, okay, because there was bad internet connection. Being love, it's not searching for love. That's the quote. Okay, so we have 7 minutes break. We started 20 past something. Okay. So now we are here. So what we do now, we use mind, but we are not going to be mental anymore. We do a part of Semzin, Rushen of mind, but we shouldn't think that, oh, Rushen of mind, this is a kind of a specific procedure that brings us to something. No, it brings us to certain experience. And this experience is very much related to our feeling of a self. And you see, we did analysis about how we feel ourselves, what we feel about ourselves, what we feel ourselves are, what I am, shape, etc., etc., etc. So it all comes to our minds. Where does it come from? It comes from our memory. We have some memory and impressions, how we look like, how we feel like, etc. And what is our identity is, okay, I like ice and I like ice cream, though. This is a kind of part of my identity. It's not really part of my identity. It's a kind of a prediction that can be made about me. Yeah. If I like ice cream, that it can be expected that when I'm showing, when I'm being shown ice cream, that I do like this and salivate. Yeah. Yeah. Or if I like something else, I can be caught by something else, you know. This is the way to control people, to manipulate, show them what they like, or what they dislike, to provoke some reactions. And we call, oh, this is a part of me, I cannot be otherwise. We can be otherwise. We can be anything. So, but in any case, we have some kind of consideration of what we are, what our existence consists of, what does make our existence, with all these reactions and ideas and sensations and memories and our shape, consideration of our shape, etc. So we feel like this. And in Sutra, we analyze this. In Dzogchen, we have an exercise that we analyze in order to go beyond that. In Dzogchen, we have an exercise to deal with that, but we deal in a different way. Also in Vajrayana, there is an exercise, but I'm not sure if you have time to do all of that. But in real sense, we try. Maybe half hour is enough to get enlightened. Yeah, should be pretty enough. A lot of time. For non-gradual, half hour is more than enough. Yeah, for non-gradual. First we do fast. Vajrayana is fast. So half hour is enough, and maybe 1 minute for non-gradual is enough. Yeah, if Vajrayana doesn't work, or maybe we cut some time on Vajrayana. So, okay, so we have what we call identity. This is our considerations of ourselves. Now let's try to be someone else. Let's try to be some shape that has nothing to do with our history, no? Let's be Vajrasattva. Okay? Do you all agree to be Vajrasattva for some time? Yeah. So we pronounce whom, and we imagine that we manifest as Vajrasattva instead of that shape that we had in our minds. We manifest as Vajrasattva. We feel being Vajrasattva. We are not very clear about what Vajrasattva is, but that's definitely not us. In this case, that's important, that it's not our ordinary self, because about ourselves, we know that we love ice cream or we love women, yeah, or love men, yeah, whatever. But about Vajrasattva, we cannot say that Vajrasattva loves men or women or ice cream, yeah? Or Vajrasattva is afraid of Putin, or Vajrasattva is supporting Biden or Trump, you know? For Vajrasattva, it's all irrelevant, right? Vajrasattva has nothing to do with that. Yeah. Even with Berlusconi. Yeah. They're not familiar. So Vajrasattva doesn't even know who Berlusconi is. It's like a totally celestial. That's why we call it deity, divinity. Yeah, in a sense. So we imagine ourselves a divinity. We call it Vajrasattva, but we don't really need to give a name for that. What's important, we have a shape which is ethereal. Instead of having consideration of ourselves having a gross shape, we change it for an ethereal shape, yeah, made of light. Yeah? Not real. See, and we don't even know what's in our underwear. Yeah. Because, for example, for our ordinary identity, it's very important what we have in our underwear. What are we wearing under underwear? Well, Vajrasattva does not have underwear. It's just covered, so we don't know what's there. Yeah? We don't know. We don't really know how we look like and what are our habits and attitudes, etc. We are just an ethereal being, imaginary, yeah, made of light, light of our own imagination, yeah. No history, no memories, no relationship. Yeah. Friends and enemies and lovers, ex-lovers, etc. No relationship with anyone. And we try to feel how it is to be Vajrasattva, yeah? How to be like this. We make whom vibrating through all our existence, and we imagine ourselves as an ethereal being, as a divinity. And it only has its grace, yeah? Instead of having relationship with this or that, with memories or rules of behavior, it just has grace, majesty. Yeah, love, whatever, but no history, no partiality. This I love, this I don't love. Just having grace, like amazing grace. Yeah? We say Vajrasattva Shri, and Shri, or in Tibetan Pel, means graceful, glorious. So let's pronounce whom and imagine ourselves a graceful ethereal being. And just observe how it is. Then maybe problems of someone you were before becoming Vajrasattva. Like before becoming Vajrasattva, maybe you were Peter, or you were Red, or you were Itzik, you were Alba, you were Rosella, you were Michael, you were Phil. Whoever you were before becoming Vajrasattva, they had some kind of problems, no? Now, being Vajrasattva, how do you feel about those problems? You are an ethereal, graceful being with no history. How do you feel about problems of Francis, problems of Penina, problems of Harry, problems of Mimi? Problems of Joanna? How do you feel about all those problems? Now being a graceful, ethereal being. How do you feel about problems of Hannah, problems of Tom, problems of Peter? Okay. So even maybe you're opening your eyes, but you don't have to become your old self again. You can still be Vajrasattva, and you can talk as Vajrasattva. Maybe now you try to move as Vajrasattva. Make some movement, whatever. Yeah. You can do whatever. There is no kind of procedure of how Vajrasattva should move. It's important you still feel grace, majesty, and being ethereal. Okay. Now you can say something as Vajrasattva. So does anyone want to share your experience of being Vajrasattva? Still being Vajrasattva, not how I did spend my summer being a Vajrasattva. No, but being Vajrasattva. Try to speak out of your experience of being Vajrasattva. How is it? Okay. Who would like to try? Yeah, please. Red Vajrasattva.
Well, I don't like to share, but my experience a bit very light, and as you're guiding us. I love being Vajrasattva, but then I remind myself I love to be in Vajrasattva and then come back to this like total relax. And it feels very good. I just feel very light. Seems like when you give us the emptiness in the first session and the second session, that I feel light. I feel amazing, but I don't want to share that because I thought we're supposed to share frighten or fear or something. So that's what I want to share. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Yeah. Alvaro Sattva. Oh, very strange voice, Alvaro Sattva. No, some very strange sound. This is how Vajrasattvas are talking, but I cannot recognize any word actually. No, it doesn't work. Okay. Strange. Right? No, it doesn't. What's happening? I don't know. Something funny. But can you hear the sound that you're making? No. Then you can listen to the recording. It's really something strange what's happening. What we hear, you all hear that, what I hear, the same, yeah? Yeah, some Dakini language. Is that? No. Yeah. Okay. Now we see the power of tantric transformation, like you see evident. Okay, anyone else? No, Alvaro, this is really something strange. You'll hear the recording and you'll enjoy it. Okay. Maybe one more person, one more Vajrasattva. Yeah, Dani. Dani Sattva. Ah, there's sound. Yeah, here is your sound.
Spacious, really feeling spacious.
Yeah.
And looking at the problems, then problems are in space, they still exist, but they are in space and it's different and it's a release. And there is a mixture of Dani and Vajrasattva being back and forth.
Yeah.
Especially when I made the movement, I saw my image as Dani coming again, and then I could realize it, and you know, it's a mixture going back and forth. That's it.
Okay, good, good. So you see, transformation means we no longer retain our ordinary identity. This is one of the aspects of tantric transformation. It's not like we are putting on a suit of a Tara, but we still carry all our usual problems with us. If we are Tara, we are Tara. There are no problems. This is the same as Vajrasattva, an ethereal being with grace and majesty. Tara does not have a loan from a bank. Tara does not have a broken heart. See? Everything which is related to history. Yeah? Okay, so this is important. This is an aspect of a lower Tantra, pretty much. What we have in lower Tantra, they call it, sometimes it's called divine pride. I think grace is better. Yeah, divine grace and majesty. Yeah, and its lightness, its shining. And how did you feel about the problems of that person that you once were, that you were 10 minutes ago when you are Vajrasattva? How do you feel about this person? Yeah, I think it's a kind of compassion, no? A kind of love. It's not a self-pity. Oh, it's a different. It's more like, oh, this guy can be Vajrasattva. Why the hell he still continues to be this and that, with all that problems which are related, with all this history and narrative which is related to that, can immediately be Vajrasattva beyond all these problems. Yeah, light and ethereal and loving and caring, but prefers to hold on to all these history and habits, etc. This is more or less how we can feel about that person we've been 10 minutes ago, and we are going to become in a few minutes. Yeah. But while we are Vajrasattva, our vision is transformed. No. Okay, but now we apply Dzogchen way, and Dzogchen way is, again, we have a consideration of who we are, but it doesn't matter. You can still be Vajrasattva. There is no problem with continuing to be Vajrasattva. You don't need to cancel, really. You don't need to cancel to become Rosella or Francis or Peter or CP. You don't have. No. can still be Vajrasattva. Or you can be your ordinary self, no problem with that. But just make all this consideration about yourself appear. And first we say are, and we imagine the white luminous are in our center, in the middle of this consideration of ourselves. We imagine how we have our presence as a white luminous are. But still there is a consideration of ourselves as ordinary self or Vajrasattva, it doesn't matter. But then we pronounce ah and we spread light, and this light is removing all our considerations. So it's like in the end of a movie, the light is on in a movie theater. And then all remaining stains, colored stains on the screen, they disappear. So like shadows are disappearing. So just with R and light, remove whatever it is, Vajrasattva, or Michael, or Hari, or Igor, or Anne, or whoever is there. We just remove all of that with light and just remain in that, what remains. Okay, is it clear? 2 times R, we say. 1 R is just to have presence of white R, just to remind ourselves. And then R is just to remove all considerations about who we are, whether we are Vajrasattva or we are John Doe. Yeah. And if you discover that you're back, either as your ordinary self or as Vajrasattva, just do once again ah, and with the sound and light, you dispel all these shadows of your considerations of yourself. And you can do it as many times as it's necessary. Every time you reappear in a certain form, you make it fade away with your light and sound. Okay. If someone is not numb, you can speak out. I had now a fantastic experience because when I did it, and my mother in another room, she's watching YouTube, and exactly this moment, she started listening to Bach, this famous fugue, which is like running a scale. I cannot repeat it. I cannot, because I'm not too musical, but you know, well, you have nothing and then you have the fugue by Bach. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Anybody wants to say something, or you prefer to remain comfortably numb? That's not that, but doesn't matter. Okay, so I think we can stop by now, and we can enjoy and feel appreciation about what we did, what we experienced. And maybe you still remain Vajrasattva, maybe you remain nothing. But there still can be a feeling of appreciation about what we did, what we learned, what we experienced, what we shared. And these are our merits that we appreciate. These are our merits, and okay, even we are ethereal beings with no history, we don't need these merits, no? Why the hell we would need them to keep them? So we can dedicate it for others who still have not realized, or yet have not realized that they are all Vajrasattvas, or can be Vajrasattvas, have this potential. And then we empower this dedication with the mantra. Om Dare Dare Mendare Swaha Jaya Jaya Siddhi Siddhi Hala Hala Aisha Sa